people got to look at themselves in the mirror now. They have to look at themselves and see what kind of person they are.
I've seen people wake up. Sorry to cut you off. I mean, I'm seeing people who never even woke up a day in their lives before, who basically never really understood the truth before. They're finally understanding the truth. It's almost as if, and I have a problem with that, because while I don't have a problem with that, there's a problem because it's like, how heinous do the crimes have to get for you to understand what the hell's going on? Everybody has to start somewhere, but there's certain things. We have access to Google. We are in a world where information is readily available in the palm of your hand. You know what I mean? So like, I don't need to give a crash course on racism and how it has affected Black and brown people to anybody. We don't owe any. What we have to do, those of us who are in the know, we just have to promote this to ourselves. We have to promote that we're not giving any crash courses on this. If anything, what we're going to try to do is so we're not going to go back and forth with nobody unless we're trying to find solutions and everything. And
do you think it may be not even that they don't know, but they don't want to let go of their power?
Well, you saying like, is it willful ignorance, right?
Yeah, willful ignorance, or just that they know exactly, willful ignorance. Because one quote I will say I think took the cake on this was from, did you guys see the Ben and Jerry's quote, the ice cream?
Yeah, they've been standing with us since 2014, 2015. Yeah, I saw the quote. I saw the quote directly from the
We need to dismantle white supremacy. Point blank, period, black and white. Not, we stand with you. I'm so sorry. I'll never understand. I don't want to hear all that. This isn't Titanic. Yeah. This isn't no Savi. We ain't trying to kumbaya it. Just call it what it is. Yeah. That was the best quote I've heard. So I think that's how it is with anybody. Nobody wants to let go of power. Nobody. And they are the ones who have had it for this long, they've been very strategic in how they've done it, taking history out of schools, turning a blind eye, having control of the judicial, the court systems, all of that. They very, very strategic, ripping people from their families, turning races against one another, the man against the woman, all of that, and in order to keep the power.
Well, and so in so many ways, wasn't that the reason why Donald Trump ran for office? Like, you know, he gave a wink and a nod to those people. You know, make America great again.
Right.
You know, let's bring
still doing it now.
Let's bring it back to when we was in power, or let's bring it back to where, you know, we had more standing. And what are they doing now, trying to rise up? Why are they doing so many things? No, we have to stand up and take back what's out. There were so many references to that in his campaign. And like I said, I always bring it back to willful ignorance, because, you know, people feel like what they don't see, they don't have to act on.
Right.
Like if it's not right in front of their faces, that means, oh, it's not an issue.
Right.
No, due to the fact that this was on video. Now, we've had racial situations that happened since the 80s, even further than that, man, going way back. I mean, and now it took
Reconstruction.
Yeah, and now it took a video.
Emmett Till.
Yeah, now it took a video, a horrible video, a terrible video, a video that really forced people now that quote unquote didn't know about it, forced them into the streets. But we've been trying to tell white America these issues for decades, and they have not responded up until this video point.
Absolutely. Or I'll say they have responded, but it's been very cotton ballish. It's been very lukewarmish, very dust your shoulder off ish, whatever ish you want to put it.
Yeah,
they know what's going on, but it'll be it'll be in a sense where we see it, so we're sorry. They'll take them to court, but let them back out. They'll show you that it's like, you know how somebody's holding bait over a fish, or that commercial, like, you almost had it. They'll do that to Black people.
It's like
Like
it's like having a treat. It's like having a dog treat, hanging a dog treat over somebody's head, over the dog's head, and then when the dog reaches up to grab it with its mouth, you're lifting it. You know what I mean?
And
That's
that can
what
cause trauma for the dog. You know, that dog could be like, okay, am I going to be able to get it? That can make a dog angry.
Absolutely. And that's what's been happening. I mean, this whole Corona thing, like you said earlier, has ripped the scab off of a lot of things. I mean, when people are trying to survive, they'll do a lot of things to survive. In the hood,
Right.
we've been trying to survive for years, and yet nobody could understand why we're trying to survive. But now that
I'm sorry.
yeah, but now that Corona hit, oh, wait a minute, we have to survive too. So now we'll do whatever we got to do to survive. You know, like so again, this has been something, and that's why people are so outraged. That's the reason why people are in the streets, is because we have been trying to get this point across to our white citizens for decades, and nobody has listened. The politicians haven't listened. Nobody has listened. So now people are in the street in a pandemic, and it's like you can't get no worse than this, because people refuse to listen.
Right.
The worst part.
I think they're listening now, you know, and it's sad that it had to take this for them to listen. It was like a silver lining in a sense, because now Blacks are finally uniting. You know what I'm saying? Before this, yeah, we had the Black Panther Party, but you saw what happened there. That was like a damn war. They ended up killing the leaders. Huey P. Newton and Fred Hampton both got assassinated. So it just took it down like a domino effect, and it brought us back down to square one. So now it's a different approach. Not only are we uniting as a Black culture, but now you do see white people coming in groups. And I've seen videos of white women my age saying, we do have systemic racism going on. I have white privilege. I've seen videos like that, and they seem sincere. I've seen women around my age arguing with their parents online, saying, "Dad, you're racist. This isn't right. This isn't right." And it's kind of sad that a person that at that age doesn't recognize it. But I think the main difference now is that we're coming together as a world. So the elites can't have. They're losing power. They really are. No matter what they have on paper, no matter what they have legally, you can't go up against a mob. It's just numbers at the end of the day.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, you know, it's too late. A lot of these racist people, a lot of these structural racism problems, like it's too late for all of that. We're connected already.
Okay.
The United States of America is moving, and we're progressing into a time and into a place that can't be stopped. You know, it's trying to argue a fact that's already a fact, or it's trying to stop the bus from parking, and the bus is already parked. Like we're already here, and we're all connected. We all know people who have children with other races. We all have mixed families. I mean, it's a wrap. This it's a wrap. But we have systemic racism now, and the young people understand that. A lot of young people understand that. It's a lot of our older people that are trying to, older people that vote, by the way. That's another thing you got to remember. But there's older people that are trying to fight a fact, and like I said, the bus is stopped, and they're living in some kind of false reality.
Now, I've seen a lot of great things come from this. A lot of organizations are getting new money in. like millions of dollars. Black Lives Matter is getting millions. Kaepernick's organization is getting millions. A lot of these organizations are getting millions, but I just really hope the people will start to focus on what else is really, really important, and that's the schools. I haven't heard anybody talk about any type of new policies related to the schools. That's where it begins. That's another form of white supremacy. We don't learn about slavery in schools like they do, and like how we learn about the Holocaust. That's why they don't do stuff like that to the Jews no more, because they know that was messed up. Kids didn't know about that. I shouldn't be 28 learning about Angela Davis. Okay, that's sad. I should not be 26 learning about
right.
the Haitian War. You know what I mean?
Right.
That should have been implanted in school. So I don't know who should do this, but somebody needs, or we all should, as a Black unity, since we are coming together more than ever, figure out a way to dismantle the school systems too and rebuild that back up.
Well, they rewrote history. I mean, you know, and our white brothers and sisters have to come to terms with this. Like, history was rewritten. You know what I'm saying? There's a different history that kids don't learn in school. Mm-hmm. And certain racist people in the white structure and the white racist structure want to cover up those type of things. Like,
right.
You know, recently, I mean, not recently, but they don't want to talk about what slave owners did. They don't want to talk about the reason why some of these streets are named after certain races that they're named after. You know, exactly. They don't want to take down the Confederate flag. I don't know if you recall this, that there was a big fight that, you know, the Confederate flag should come down. Oh, no, it shouldn't. You know, they were saying because of this. And, you know, they need to come to terms.
There's also, Virginia just announced that they're going to be getting rid of the Robert E. Lee Confederate Memorial recently.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought that up, King. I couldn't remember the name, but.
And the crazy thing is, I know that you're saying that it took a video for them to really wake up and see that this is going on, but a precinct in Minneapolis got burned down. I've never seen a precinct get burned down.
Right? Absolutely.
It took a precinct being burned down for the first officer to actually get, the guy who had the knee on George Floyd's neck, Derek Chauvin, to get charged. And the rest of it took cops trying to mow down protesters in New York, getting charged to get the other 3 officers charged. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If there was no pandemic happening, I guarantee you there would have been the same amount of white people out here suddenly waking up and being like, oh, we're sorry, we're this, we're that, you know, and pretend, and you know what I mean? They would probably still be trying to find excuses as to why 3 officers were on this man's back and one of them had a knee on his neck. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it happen with Eric Garner's case. You know what I mean? They had this man by his neck in a chokehold. They had him in the chokehold, and they basically blamed his death on pre-existing heart conditions and like that, and asthma.
They're throwing everything out. Then they said COVID. He had COVID.
They said that George Floyd tested positive, had COVID or whatever. But guess what? Guess what? If he had COVID, then all 4 of those officers should be sick now.
Exactly right.
That's the karma now. That's what I figured.
Absolutely. That's right.
When it comes to the history that is taught in schools, I'm gonna have to say that I was fortunate enough to be in a middle school where every black icon that you needed to know in history was posted on walls, from W.E.B. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We learned about black inventors, Elijah McCoy, aka the real McCoy. If it wasn't the real McCoy, that's not the one you need. Stuff like that we were able to learn about that back in middle school. My middle school, Ronald Edmonds Learning Center 113, MS 113 on Adelphi Street between Lafayette and DeKalb, right over there. I
That's
went to
right.
school.
Shout them out. Shout them out.
Big them up. You know what I'm saying? We had we went to school with black figures, man. What when I was in theater class in middle school, they took us to Howard University. You know what I mean? They took us on a trip to Howard University, HBCU. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you know what I mean? So to be fortunate enough to have that learning experience. I'm seeing on Twitter now, like, how old were you? What grade were you in when you had your first black teacher? My first black teacher was in kindergarten. We went to school because
fortunate.
And her name was Miss James. I was fortunate enough to go to school in Brooklyn. I went to school in Brooklyn, so that's why so many of my teachers were black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And of course they had the curriculum where they had to teach slavery. They had to teach how Christopher Columbus came to America. But the true history that I learned was the Caribbean history. Caribbean history, I learned that when I went to Kingsborough Community College, my alma mater. You know what I'm saying? When we learned about, the teacher had a very simple way to teach us about everything because he studied in Cuba. He said to us, if you look at the different Caribbean islands, look at the different islands and you see what languages they speak, you will know who was there, who was colonizing over there. Jamaica was colonized by the Spaniards first and then by the British. When it comes to the revolts, the uprising that we have seen in the last week, of course you saw the looting and everything. A lot of people have made, instead of not only just saying all lives matter, they're all saying, oh, you guys are looting, you guys have lost the message, blah, 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 blah. You can tell that they're not doing their history. If they don't like looting, because no business owner likes looting, they're not going to like the Boston Tea Party, the actual Boston Tea Party, where they dump tea off of a ship by the boatload. They're not going to like the Haitian Revolution, where they kicked the Spaniards and the French off of the island of Hispaniola. They wouldn't like Queen Nanny and the Maroons of Jamaica, where they fought off slave owners left and right, so much so that the British had to try and make a peace treaty with them. You know what I'm saying? There was no revolution that was ever done cleanly or neatly. There was no revolution that was ever done with a filter. And that was ever done with any type of filter. They're not even gonna
if they want to get on that, then they also need to include, what was the 99th anniversary that happened a couple of weeks ago? The Tulsa, what is it?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes, they killed 300 when they destroyed Black Wall Street. So why can't we talk about that? Because they not only destroyed Black Wall Street, which we had doctors, we had lawyers, we had women and children. Their places were destroyed. They killed 300 people.
That was a state-sanctioned terrorist attack. That was a state-sanctioned terrorist attack based on a lie. The same lie that is prevalent in when white people like to call cops on black people for merely existing. Recent example being the man in Central Park just bird watching and the lady walking her dog. You know, that same type of lie, that same type of fabrication. In that case, with Wall Street, they said that a black man had raped a white woman. They scapegoated some random black person, tried him instantly without due process, without any of that. And what did they do after that? They lynched him. And then they wound up burning all the black businesses that in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You know what I mean? Word. The French Revolution, every day somebody was getting guillotined. They went to the guillotine, get their head chopped off instantly. Every day, a bloody revolution. I'm telling you, a lot of people are not doing their history. Now, unfortunately, there's a couple of businesses that have been casualties of losing some certain items and stuff. But this is what I say to all of that. You can start a business. Anyone can start a business, get an EIN, and get the loan directly from a bank any day of the week. Now, arguably so, because of course, the history in America towards black people, redlining, automatically, since you're black, your credit score is gonna be average or whatever, no matter what you do virtually, right? Historically, right? But again, you can start a business. You can replace a business. Businesses get replaced. They get new leases. They lose the leases. Everything like that. You can get a new.
Don't you have to have insurance to have a business?
Yeah, you have to have insurance. You can get these things, but you can't replace a black life.
You can't replace a life.
You can replace a business. You can start a new business, but you can't replace a black life. You can't. And that's the point that we're trying to drive home to everybody. So yeah, you might have lost a couple of merchandise items from your store and everything. Sorry to hear that. But the pain of that is nothing comparable. It pales in comparison to when a mother loses her child, when her mother loses her son or daughter, when families lose when a child loses their father or their mother.
We also need to put up programs. We got to put up programs to help with trauma. I think on the Black community, I don't know if you gentlemen will agree with this. I've noticed like people in my family, they don't want to admit that they have Alzheimer's, anger issues, depression, any type of mental illness. I think the Black community, they try to taboo it almost. And then what ends up happening, it's like a thorn growing out of cement. It still comes up in some type of way. So I think that our community, we need to have more doctors, more mental therapists that say it's okay. We need to have more counselors that are willing to sit down and talk to our Black men and women who had a child that was murdered to police brutality, or even a family member who, I hate to go there, but even a uncle who might have raped a niece. It's like we don't want to open up and say that we can have weak tendencies at times, because the world views us as these strong Black superheroes, even though they treat us like we're roaches or they treat us like we're not. They know we're strong, but they don't want to admit that we can have we can have vulnerability.
We're stereotyped to be strong. Black women are stereotyped to be strong every single day. Strong Black woman, this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? It's like anytime a Black woman expresses herself, you know, when she expresses herself, she's getting policed at every turn. If she tries to express an emotion, if she tries to express an emotion about something like, I'm hurt by this person's actions, she's told, fuck it up. She's told, you know, she's basically told in many different ways that whatever it is she's feeling doesn't matter, and just bottle it up, suck it up, keep moving. You know what I mean?
Ghetto, she's loud, she's rude, just because I have an opinion about something, just because I want to speak up. I'm the loudmouth, I'm a troublemaker. Why? Why does it have to be that title?
And see, that's why it's so important for us to support each other, because we need people in certain positions that look like us, because white people have people in positions that look like them, and then they get favors. So just to go back to what you were talking about before, you were saying about a business. Now that Black business burns down. Yeah, he can go through the process of getting another business, but when he doesn't know the guy that's in charge of getting him the business, or the guy that could do a favor for him to get that business quicker. See, those are where the problems lie at. When we have people that are in influential positions, just like white people that are in influential positions, you know, they get processes sped up for them because, they know this one and this one could do them a favor indirectly. And wherein that Black man that he applied legitimately, his business could be better than the white guy that applied. But because the white guy is white and he knows so-and-so, he'll get that favor done for him before the Black guy is out of a business. It's so important for us to support each other. And it's so important to have doctors psychiatrists, people that look
Yes.
like us, that black people can go to and feel comfortable. Why? Because white people have that going on right now. So when
And
we're
not
up there,
even that, it's important that you're able to express yourself just
absolutely.
as a human being.
Absolutely. So it's like, you know, when white people say, "Oh, why are they talking like that?" Or why do they, you know, because you guys have that type of stuff. They have people, they have white judges. They have
Yeah,
white district attorneys. You know, they have so again, it's important that when we talk about these issues, that we also talk about the coming together of the black community, that we also talk about voting, that we also, you know, I felt
agreed.
so bad when the
Exactly.
coronavirus had hit older people, you know, so hard in the black community, because the older people in the black community are the ones that vote the most. So
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
you know, when the black community gets hit and the older and it's older generation that gets hit, that's a substantial hit against the voting community that go to vote to
Very
get
true.
our agenda put through.
Very true.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to black people in those positions, you know, oftentimes a lot of them have to do dirt, and I mean dirt. You know what I mean? There's certain things because of systemic racism that they have to swallow. Some of them become consumed by they become consumed by the system in the position that they're in. A lot of times you find them currying the favor with white people because white people are fully on. They're in those positions. They're at those levels. You know, they still have to deal with being seen as a less than, or just some kid from insert location here, and label it ghetto or the hood or whatever, or label it urban, just to try and sound like you're not being stereotypical. And oftentimes we have seen in the places of power that they've been put in, they actually don't even use that power. Recent example being, of course, the judge in Botham Jean's case, where Amber
Yes.
Weiser was sentenced to 10 years, but the judge hugged her, and after the victim's family hugged her up, and the judge gave her a Bible and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes putting black people in within positions in the system does not necessarily work. There have
I
been
agree.
black cops who have inflicted the same type of treatment that white cops be
Hmm.
giving to us onto us. In fact, in fact, I'll give you an example, right? In addition to the video of the black cop beating up the kid for jumping the turnstile, right? I was at a protest in solidarity of the Baltimore protests that were happening for Freddie Gray when he was murdered by those cops in a police van. I remember us marching from Union Square with the Legal Aid Society numbers on our arms, marching from Union Square all throughout Soho, down to Lower Manhattan, down into Lower Manhattan to Tribeca, hitting the West Side Highway from being faced up with police in riot gear looking like the military police from the 1960s, going all the way to the West Side Highway. And then I saw police inciting violence with the protesters. They're the ones that usually start the shit all the time. And I actually saw a black female police officer look at somebody and say, "You think this is funny?" and slam him, hit him in the head with the nightstick. I saw it with my own two eyes. A friend that I had met up with at the protest at that time, she actually started crying because she saw so much evil take place. So I was like, "Yo, come, let's go." We go to our next corner.
They're
Go to the
scared.
next corner, and then
Mhm.
this is we were over by like somewhere in what was it, Spring Street somewhere, right? Over the West Side Highway. And then the cops are rounding people up on the corner in groups of 15. So we duck into this parking lot. And I remember running as fast as I could because the cops were trying to round each and every last one of us up. Then I ran out. I got out of there, I had to run back to see if my friend had made it out there because she ran too, and then we walked away. We saw a high school kid get slammed on a vehicle and then slammed onto the ground just to arrest him. We've seen it happen. Sometimes when you put black people in positions of power within
That's
the
true.
system, they get
That's true.
brainwashed
That's true.
and they forget.
And they never had that type of power before, so they probably get addicted to it.
Not
Right.
yeah,
It's
and
like
not
another
only that.
form of it. It's like an evil sin. They don't know how to. Y'all know how it goes.
Right.
Like some people don't know how to control power.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And what it is that some people don't have the courage that other people have.
Absolutely.
They don't have the toughness, if you will, that other people have. So in other words, when they get these positions, these high positions, and they're surrounded by a bunch of white people, they feel like they have to comply because first of all, they're scared and they don't know how to react. They don't know how to tote that medium, if you will. So they get caught up into this stuff where they're doing bad stuff to their own people to fit in to what they feel that those white people want them to do, or to keep their job, or to keep a roof over their head. They feel like they have to do these things, and they don't. That's the big thing. They don't. They could stand as the individual that they are, and if they stay grounded with other black people, that this is a case of who's your friends? Who do you talk to outside of your job? Like, do you consume yourself with the job that you get? Or do you have other friends, let's say in the hood? Or do you have other friends that keep you grounded to let you know what's going on? So you can talk to them and keep that medium in your life to be able to do good for your community.
That is so true, C's. I like what you said. You have to have a balance that keeps you in reality. You can't let your job consume you. That's very true.
I've been working as a 311 operator, call center representative at 311, and I've been helping people. I've been helping people for the past 2 months sign up for the Get Food program, where they deliver food boxes to people's houses every 3 days. You know what I mean?
Nice.
You know what I mean? So
I just found a vigilante, huh? Batman.
It's like, yo, it's a really good job. It's a major upgrade from what I was doing before when I was at the airport. I hated the airport. Still do. But I'm like, but it's just like when people don't understand how bad this virus has hit until you have to work in a city job where you're serving people that are coming to you for different services. People are asking about food stamps. People are asking about, like the air conditioners for people that live in nicer buildings, or they're working with people with services from the HRA, the Human Resources Administration. There's people that are scared to go outside. They're sick. They're disabled. They can't even go and get food for themselves. It's really hit the city on a grand scope, from the Bronx to Queens to Brooklyn to Staten Island to even Manhattan. It's been really bad. I had a couple people call and get upset with the opening process, and I'm like, yo, listen, it's a public safety issue when you have to wear a mask and all of that, because if it's spread from person to person contact, like, you don't want to do that. And if you do the history with past pandemics, from tuberculosis to the influenza, all of that, yo, anytime you're dealing with a virus that you can contract just by somebody breathing in any given enclosed area, yeah, you don't want that. So it's like, it's just been really crazy.
Well, I'll say this with you, King. I think I want to tell you thank you. I want to take this time to show appreciation for what you've done for our community. Thank you for being there to serve us. Thank you for being that person that people can go to for questions, because I know some people have never experienced nothing like this and they're scared. and they feel like they have no one that's listening to them or nowhere that they can go to. So thank you for being a good example of a man, and thank you for using your time to help out with our community.
No problem, man. No problem. I've always wondered like what I could be doing during the pandemic in addition to keeping myself safe and everything. So I feel very truly honored and blessed to be in the position that I'm in now, just helping people out with certain things like bits and pieces of information, helping them to get food. And the time that we're in now where everybody is going out to demonstrate, it reminds me of when I was on the West Side Highway with everybody and I had the Legal Aid Society number on my arm. So the first thing I did was I went to look up the Legal Aid Society number to find it because I couldn't find the picture. And I found that they have multiple locations by borough. So I've just been, for the past week, sharing the numbers by borough to everybody that's been going out. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to find different ways to help because, we need it, the people need it. Yo, it's real out here. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for doing what you're doing as well. You know, any action helps. Any and every action helps. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Don't ever feel like you're not doing anything. Don't ever feel like you're not enough or your efforts are not enough, because
right.
we are enough. You are
That's
enough. I
right.
am enough. Let us continue to support each other in every single way
Yes.
possible. Let us
Yes.
continue to uplift each other.
Yes.
Let us continue to be blessed. Let us continue to cut out toxicity from our lives.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But most importantly, let us continue to do everything with love. You know what I mean?
That's right. Thank you, King Jamrock. Is there any tell them your Instagram handle where
Yo,
they can
dig
find
this,
you.
everybody. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at King Jamrocka. That's KingJamrockah.
All
Instagram and
right.
Twitter at King Jamrocka. I'm doing. I'm gonna be on live. I just recently brought back Cool Vibes, my brand, my show, Cool Vibes. It used to be a radio show at Kingsborough. I have a podcast for it. But now recently, thanks to the help of my girlfriend DJ KK47, I've been spinning live the last couple of weeks on Fridays at 6 p.m. So today I'm gonna be playing some liberation sounds like I did last Friday. More liberation sounds, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be scratching too. So definitely check
Okay.
that out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I still got my footwork, so don't worry. I'll be back on the challenge, but it'll be just 30 days instead of 100. Because 100, not to say that I'm afraid to do 100 days of footwork, but in a pandemic where certain like items aren't readily available and stuff, yo, I'm gonna just keep my practicing within the confines of my home and everything. But I'm definitely spinning live, so definitely check that out.
All
Once
right.
again,
There
much
you
love
have it.
to everybody. You know what I mean? Big up yourself.
All
Thank you,
right.
Rizzo. Peace.